Hey guys, day 3 of the North American Bitcoin Conference. I am here with Jonny. We're going to talk about gaming and metaverse. We just talked about some of our shared interests in the cryptocurrency space. This is going to be great. Jonny, are you enjoying the conference?
Absolutely, man. It's nice to meet you and just network with a bunch of like-minded individuals here. And there's so much value to be shared. And I think what we'll talk about too, just the interest coming in, the money and the players coming into the space right now is so exciting. And especially with like the metaverse and kind of what I'm niche down on. I think there's just so much opportunity in the space for mainstream adoption that's about to flood into the space.
Jonny, I have so many questions for you, it's not even funny. Before we get started, where can people find you? Because they're going to want to.
So I do cryptocurrency content on strictly crypto gaming and metaverse on Crypto Banter's YouTube channel. So you can find me on YouTube, Crypto Banter, Twitter at HustlePediaYT, and Instagram Hustle_NFT. Those are my most active platforms. I would say Twitter, I share a lot of value, written, just project analysis, stuff like that about the markets, and then obviously content, informational based, just like yours.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you this. We're going to get started. What are your favorite areas of cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I mean, metaverse, 100%, and gaming. So my background, I spent 6 years in the esports scene, competitive Call of Duty, so I'm really savvy with games and savvy with that kind of ownership. So people don't understand when you buy a skin in Fortnite, you don't own it. You're just giving a corporation money, and then they're pocketing the money, and it's just profit for them. When in NFT gaming, when your mind switches and you understand the people that play World of Warcraft for a decade can then, instead of putting their account up for sale, because it's the only way to monetize it, you just sell your assets. And the concept of ownership is just so exciting. And the institutional interest in the metaverse, we'll talk about it. I just think it's heavier than any other space in crypto. The money that's about to come in from big time tech corps that want to compete. If you think that these corps are going to let Zuckerberg run the metaverse with no competition, you'd be foolish. So that's what I'm most excited about. I have my eye on that space, and that's basically, I'm niche down.
That's awesome. Well, I come from the gaming space also. I've spent probably 15,000 hours playing games. I used to play games 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day. League of Legends, Civilization series, Minecraft, what you name it, I probably played it if it's on PC. I actually deleted my Steam account about 4 months ago because I wanted to focus on business. It was so much fun to me, and I loved it so much. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about is that we've seen digital collectibles, digital items in video games for about the last 20 years. That really got started in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, depending on where it started.
RuneScape, people were
it was in RuneScape
accounts in the early 2000s.
Exactly. So it's been around for a long time. But the thing that I actually really find interesting is this concept of NFTs and how they're going to play into digital gaming. So I actually had somebody describe NFTs to me yesterday like this. A stock is a certificate of ownership of a company. A NFT is basically a certificate of verification of ownership on a blockchain. You can verify the authenticity. It's a certificate of authenticity on a blockchain. So do you think that NFTs are going to work in gaming and in metaverse to be able to make these collectibles more scarce?
Absolutely. And think of real world application, right? So even outside of gaming, your title of your home shouldn't be a piece of paper that you have to go fetch in an office or figure out where did I leave it. Your title of your home can eventually be an NFT. It's yours the same type of way, and it's verifiable, and it's digital. It's anywhere, Someone needs to pull up your deed to your house or whatever, they have it. Same with a car title, stuff like that. So it really can bring that aspect to it. The digital world, the revolution that's coming, and education. The amount of things that can be done from different areas is just huge.
Well, I've been saying that for a long time. NFTs are not just art. Art was the first commercially viable use case of NFTs.
Exactly.
NFTs are not just art. No. It is fractional digital verification on a blockchain. That is way bigger than art. I've said it's going to be deeds to homes. It's going to be car loans. It's going to be insurance policies. It's going to be anything that you need to say, hey, I own this, or hey, this is part of my digital identity. NFTs are going to be a part of that. Let me ask you this. I think a lot of people see NFTs, metaverse, and gaming as 3 different parts of the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Would you actually see them as one and the same, and they're just different branches of it?
Yes, I would. I would say all-encompassing. The metaverse is kind of the overarching theme, right? And I think there's bad actors in the space. There's games that come out and they make a game, but then when the metaverse narrative happened, you see they slap metaverse on the name or on their brand, and that's not a metaverse. So I think metaverse all-encompassing is that crypto gaming NFT umbrella, but I think a metaverse is different from a game, for example. So I think they're different, but all-encompassing, I would call it the metaverse niche.
That's incredible. So let me ask you this. There's a lot of... So Bitcoin is growing. I've heard people say Bitcoin's growing 3 times faster than the internet, and now NFTs are growing 5 or 6 times faster than Bitcoin. The whole industry seems to be going parabolic because you have one market growing on top of another market, growing on top of another market. We've seen NFTs go from basically nothing a year ago to everything now. Same thing with Metaverse, same thing with blockchain gaming. Everybody laughed at this a year ago, and now they're not laughing. That's the point. That I've heard the word NFT more than any cryptocurrency at this conference. Where do you think we're going to see NFTs, Metaverse, and gaming a year from now?
Man, so what I'm hammering down right now, we just saw Microsoft bought Activision. Activision owns, they facilitate the Call of Duties, World of Warcraft, Overwatch. So they said it's the first step in their Metaverse play. And I think the catalyst for this niche, for Metaverse, is institutional money. If you look around the space, these tech companies are focused on that. Zuckerberg was a first mover in the social network, right? He created Facebook, and then Twitter came along, and Instagram, and a lot of and ironically, Meta bought Instagram, but they didn't create Instagram, right? So they set the trend. So he's a first mover, but when Apple gets involved, they took the Windows computer and they made it elegant. They made it sleek, and they said, here's the MacBook. They made phones obsolete. They took flip phones and sidekicks, the old phones of the past, and now 9 out of 10 people we network with you talk to anywhere, have an iPhone. They monopolize it. So I think when Apple gets involved, they're going to come in and try to perfect the metaverse, right? They're very perfectionist. Microsoft, with their play, they said it's the first step in their NFT and metaverse play with the acquisition of Activision. Amazon, shopping in the metaverse. We mold this studio and we're like, what would look better over there as far as production? You're swiping through different items, you're shopping in the metaverse. You mold yourself, you're changing clothes. You don't have to go to the store or order something online that you don't know is going to fit. There's so many applications that these businesses can come in. Education, a virtual learning experience, and when in an online age where COVID has driven people out of schools, and in a lot of areas they're not going back anytime soon. And online school,
probably never.
And online
for many good reasons.
Imagine kids these days are so attached to an iPad, right? It's like a pacifier. You give your kid an iPad so they entertain themselves, right? Well, eventually they're going to be able to potentially learn. That's their learning mechanisms. Interactive. You build curriculum that you're actually doing things, right? You're not just like reading and trying to let's get this done so I never have to think about it again. Like a group project in a business school, you can actually develop something in the metaverse, potentially in virtual reality. Real estate, you can actually practice real estate with land in the metaverse. Like there's so much learning and just absolute institutional approach that these companies can come get in and bring it to the metaverse.
The applications are absolutely limitless. There are plenty of people saying, and I totally agree with them, we're in another industrial revolution as of the last 5 years. Blockchain is the biggest opportunity of you and I's lifetime. You and I were born a little bit too late to really take full advantage of the internet.
Right.
I think blockchain is probably even a bigger opportunity than the internet was. Let me ask you this. It took 10 years for institutions to start even caring a little bit about Bitcoin.
Right.
Metaverse, NFTs, and blockchain gaming, they've been being built for 2, 3, 4 years, but really they blew up in the last year. What do you think it speaks to the industry that a $2 trillion company like Microsoft, that if I remember correctly was #1 in market cap at one point, is getting into blockchain gaming this early and getting into metaverse this early? What does it mean that the institutions are jumping in?
That is where mainstream adoption, okay, so like you said, it's the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. And if you look at articles from like 2001, people are saying internet's a scam, the internet won't hold up, internet's a fad, yada yada. And now you look, this is the digital age. You can do anything online, right? So moving forward, these institutions are going to pour money into that same, what is the next step of social networking, right? And that's the metaverse to these projects. And getting involved is important. You can't, like I said, competition is what drives these companies. And Mark Zuckerberg sees the space so well, sees the trends. He's getting involved, and these other companies are going to follow. And I think it's a long-term. This field is going to take a while. If anything comes out this year and claims to be a metaverse and it's just on a PC, it's not a metaverse. A metaverse is going to be that virtual reality experience. I think it's going to take years to build up, but the institutional interest is there today. There are big corporations right now that are already building a metaverse that we just don't know yet. So when that news does come out, how do you get in front of that, and how do you get the information and just network with people, figure out where the institutional interest is? And that's what I've been most focused on here. Where's the money going, and where's the thoughts? Where are the people's heads at, right? And people want to know what's going to take this mainstream. So how can my mom do it, right?
Yeah.
So she loves Facebook, and she would never say that Twitter's better because that's their era. And so how can she get involved in the metaverse with ease? These corps like Apple will make it easy. Simple applications.
That's what they do. It's
That
user
people
interface.
know. That people know. So the institutional interest is going to drive the mainstream of this, just like social networks, in my opinion.
Yep. We'll do two things for us. Number one, I think a lot of people hear the word metaverse and they think it's a buzzword.
Yes.
Tell us, one, what is metaverse? And two, what is your ideal vision for 5 years from now for metaverse adoption? Because there's a lot of ways this can go, good and bad. What would the good path for metaverse be?
The good path for metaverse is the real, like I keep likening it to this, but you talked about it. If an NFT project is just art, it's not going to work. There has to be utility behind it, right? So these real estate developers today, if you have a big real estate portfolio in real life, you can start learning about the metaverse, go in and actually monopolize it in the metaverse. You can get tons of land plots, build up on them, rent them out to... Think about this, real estate in the metaverse. These corps, these individuals that are buying sandbox land right now, and eventually these corps, just like in real life, they're gonna come in, knock on your door and say, I need your land. I need to build here.
Yeah.
Real estate, property, that's a huge application in the metaverse. And the metaverse is just a digitalized world that you can feel and you can experience. And in my opinion, it's going to be a big dichotomy because a lot of people, and this is just life, a lot of people are unhappy with where they are. Metaverse is going to provide that escape, but it's real. You can earn, you can actually make something out of it in the metaverse, and you can take things to the next level. Let's say you're savvy in games, but you're not savvy in other areas. You can monetize that in the metaverse. There's no other opportunity like that. You spend time. World of Warcraft has been around for a decade. People's put, years into that game. When you get done with it, you have to look at it and be like, what did I get out of it?
Yeah, right.
I have this whole inventory of assets, right? You build up a catalog of things you've collected. But eventually everyone has to step back. You said you deleted your Steam account. I don't play Call of Duty anymore despite being a competitive player.
Yeah, for real.
So everyone steps back. I mean, at the end of it, you're like, wow, I just built that up and now I have to get rid of it or leave it behind.
Yeah.
That won't be a thing.
Well,
That's a question I wanted to trade it.
Yeah, well, that's a question I wanted to ask you because, as social media has grown, there's all kinds of these concerns about social media. You got the documentary, The Social Network. You got all these documentaries and things talking about social media and its effects on kids and everything. And you said something about escaping into the metaverse. What do you think that, what as far as mental health do you think that we can do to make sure that the metaverse, the next iteration of social media, is actually beneficial rather than, and I don't think social media is a bad thing. I mean, we're both influencers.
But it can be toxic.
But it can be.
Yep.
What are some things that we can do as we're moving into the metaverse to make sure that we're having a healthy relationship with it?
I just think there will be people that, they go all in and like their life becomes the metaverse. I just think it's important to, they say it, don't get high on your own supply type of mentality.
I've heard that.
And I dig into gaming, I dig into metaverse, but if I get into the games too much, or I get into the metaverse too much, it takes you over. Your mind's triggered.
Happened to me, yeah.
You're a creature of habit, we all are. So if you play video games all day, your brain optimizes itself for the game.
Exactly.
You're not optimized for life. So yes, there needs to be, that's a problem too, because the people building the metaverses would love you to just indulge and be all in, even if it's toxic. So yeah, there's a void there, I do think, because like I said, the biggest metaverse players are going to be the ones with the biggest separation of real life and metaverse, in my opinion. I think that's where the market is, because you can change your life. You literally can live a different life in the metaverse that could be a different standard. But there is a void for that right now. I think that's my biggest concern, right? Is how real does it get? And how real do people treat it? And how does it take them over?
I think metaverse, NFTs, and gaming are on top of cryptocurrency, there's a subset of cryptocurrency, but they're kind of becoming their own thing.
Yeah.
One of the biggest opportunities of our lifetime. I say that about cryptocurrency. I think this is right up there with it. But you know, the whole old saying, with great power comes great responsibility. If we have the biggest opportunity of our lifetime, that means there's going to be big threats.
Yep.
And I think it's important, and I don't think it's something that's not overcomable. But I think it's important for us to talk about mental health in this space, because it's very possible to have a healthy relationship, but an unhealthy one as well.
Instagram culture, it's toxic.
Exactly.
You know, you see materialism everywhere.
Exactly.
And like people care about their digital life more. I mean, your social image, having a Bored Ape as your profile picture.
Yeah.
You're not even like trying to show off the art. It's a flex. It is a strict flex. So people care so much about that, and it's already already toxic. But then you're gonna literally start living a pseudo life alongside your real life. That's gonna be way more toxic.
Yeah.
You know,
because I think, like I said, metaverse, I am all for it. I'm not somebody who's against it, but I do want to entertain for the people watching at home the whole like Ready Player One scenario.
Yeah.
Is that where we're going?
It's all information based, right?
Sure.
So you have to present pros and cons.
Sure.
And I think that's what the beauty of what we do. You know, we present the facts. And when you're looking at the pros and cons, I do think eventually we head towards some sort of Ready Player One-esque, not a life, because I value life.
Sure.
I will never be the one that's VR'd up all day.
I won't either. Yeah.
That my brain would go to crap. You know?
Me too.
So
the reason I wouldn't is because I like it too much.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I wouldn't do it.
We come from gaming.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I would indulge. I would be in. Like Grand Theft. It's like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
You know, you're building businesses. You're buying property.
Yeah.
You're getting money. You're getting cars. It's the same thing. It's the same
like the
exact
first
thing.
example of metaverse. It just didn't have digital scarcity and your ability to actually own it in the real world.
Exactly. But there are cons in the space.
Sure.
And how can we fix that? And I do think that what you presented is the biggest thing. The health aspect, because if people buy in too much, man, that will be toxic for your just mental health. Because, like I said, the biggest metaverse players will have the biggest separation from real life and metaverse life, but that can be horrible whenever they step out of the metaverse.
Sure.
And they've been living that, but then real life is just so different.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And I don't want to be a downer. There's a lot of great things here. And with that, what's
information.
Yeah.
You're good.
And with that said, let me ask you this: what are some of the biggest opportunities that you see in metaverse gaming NFTs in the next 5 years? Because there's a lot of great that it's doing in the world.
Yeah. So obviously you want to look for, like, when I'm betting a game, if you're investing in one single game, you need to know the team. You need to know some people just buy it because the coin gets talked about, right? Why is the project going to succeed? So you look at a project, it's called Big Time by Ari Melik. He's the co-founder of Decentraland.
Okay.
Proven track record. Team has worked on Gears of War, Fortnite, Call of Duty, and legit. And some of these projects will say, I worked on Call of Duty, when they literally might have done a day looking at the game, some sort of feedback, beta testing, stuff like that, and these bad actors will say, I worked on this game. So vetting these projects correctly to know which ones are going to succeed, like, I think that will be great, backed by like Decentraland's founder. So doing your proper research in the space is huge in games, but alongside that, front running the institutional narrative. Yeah. So Amazon is already partnered with the Wax blockchain. Why would they do that? NFTs. They want to eventually come into that world. That's the foundations. They're laying foundations. Microsoft, they're getting involved with some of these blockchain projects, low key and under the table, and they're going to come live. That we've already been working on this. You know, this is in development. So Wax blockchain with Amazon. You have all these different comic book collections getting involved with official NFT projects, and there's a lot of interest flowing in. And if you can front run that institutional narrative, just like we saw with Facebook, anyone who had Mana or Sandbox,
they made a lot of money.
You 5x'd in like 2 days.
Yeah, for real.
It was unreal, and I think that will happen again when the Apples come in and the Amazons, etc.
I think so. I think you're absolutely right. Let me give you 2 predictions I've made, and I want to hear your thoughts on them because you're more in this space than I am. I think in the next 12 months, you're going to see a blockchain gaming protocol or platform or a coin or anything within the top 10 on CoinMarketCap. And I think in the next 10 years, the NFT space is going to be worth $10 trillion.
I do too.
What do you think of those 2 things?
I think you're spot on, man. I think NFTs are the biggest thing since the internet.
I agree.
Because of the amount of things you can encompass, right? Property.
I think they're even bigger than crypto, actually.
Verification.
Yep.
Just literal verification is the word I would use. You can verify anything through the NFT space. Ownership, whatever it is. There's just, it's there. And it's just not, there yet.
Well, that's the root of human society is ownership.
Yeah.
Everything's owned by somebody.
Right.
I mean, people lay claim to everything. That's
And
just the way
imagine
humans work.
flex culture. People rent Lambos and they'll drive up and act like it's theirs.
Yeah.
Imagine be like, show me the NFT.
Show me the NFT.
Yeah.
Let's see if you actually own
Let's
that.
see if you own that.
Yeah, okay, all these questions like, oh, that dude has a $25 million house. I wonder if he's renting that for the weekend.
Yes.
He's trying to show off. And you'll just be able to look it up on a database somewhere and say, hey, does the NFT actually belong to him for the deeds?
Transparency of things will open up so many doors whenever NFTs come mainstream like that.
Let me ask you one final question. What do you think the next 5 years of growth in metaverse, blockchain gaming, and NFTs are going to look like? Because we've seen one real year of growth.
Yeah.
What's the next 5 looking like?
So I do think I think we're gonna look at a Bitcoin-esque type of growth over the next timeline. So we saw what Bitcoin's done over time. It's just steady growth. I think that this sector is going to be in that climb until the proper valuations reach. And I do want to warn, so proper valuations are key.
Yep.
Axie Infinity, fully diluted, 25 billion. Activision themselves is only worth 50 on paper, market cap. So encompass that, they own Call of Duty, World of Warcraft. So I do think the gains to be made are there, and it will have a Bitcoin style run. Everything in the space that encompasses the NFT, gaming, metaverse that are legit and picking up steam in the space will do insane gains. But you have to think, nothing is going to escape an economic crisis.
Right.
Nothing is going to escape that. But if we go into a bear market, the first thing to rise out of the bear is the metaverse and crypto gaming because people are using it actively. When the market goes down, retail guys get scared out.
Yep.
They don't do DeFi, Only the people that are in crypto stay. Gamers, they play all the time.
They just don't play games.
Market's up, market's down, market's sideways. They're
play
playing.
games.
I think the growth is there.
That's insane. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Make sure to follow him.
Hustlepedia YT on Twitter and Crypto Banter on YouTube, and then hustle_NFT on Instagram.
Boom. It was great, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely consider subscribing because we're trying to help you become financially free in these cryptocurrency markets. And also, consider following us on Twitter @CryptoJeb for more updates on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Peace.